Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Okay. Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Hari Om. Jai Jai Hari Om, Hari Om, Hari Om, Jai Jai. Lord Premanande. All right. Thank you, Russ Gailey. You just keep getting better all the time. So we're going to talk about leaving misery behind today. We'd like to do that, wouldn't we? So how can we leave misery behind? First of all, what are these miseries that we're talking about? And by the way, you guys in the audience, feel free to ask a question and stop me at any time. All of you online and all of you here. So let's make this a discussion. If you have something to say or a question or comment, chip it in at any time. So what are these miseries we're talking about? What are these miseries?
Miseries like there are three different kind of miseries.
Yeah, there's three main categories of miseries. Miseries from demigod. Yeah, Adidaivika. Adidaivika klesha is misery, challenges. So we refer to them as acts of God, natural occurrences like drought, flood, like that. In California, they have droughts, they have mudslides, they have floods, they have everything in California. So, and then what's the other kind of? Adibodika, that means from
Other living.
Huh? Other living entities, like mosquitoes, cockroaches, gnats, snakes, people. I think people are the worst. Mosquitoes sometimes, people that are being a nuisance. We create miseries for each other, just in the way that we don't treat each other like Vaishnavas. We don't recognize everyone's status as a part and parcel of Krishna. So then, because of that, we neglectfully treat each other. We cause misery for one another. We don't really want to cause misery, but we forget to recognize the divine nature of all of us, every living entity. So we forget that because I forget that you're part and parcel of Krishna. I forget that I'm part and parcel of Krishna. If I'm part and parcel of Krishna, then I shouldn't misbehave. I shouldn't cause difficulty on other people. And if you're part and parcel of Krishna, I shouldn't cause you difficulty. And if everyone is part and parcel of Krishna, you can see how if we just recognize, it's like when we say namaste, I'm recognized that this divine spark in you, this soul, part and parcel of Krishna that you are. I'm recognizing that. So, and they also say namaskar. Namaskar means the same thing, right? Same thing as namaste. Yeah, that's what I've always thought anyway. You hear some parts of India, you'll hear more namaskar. In Jagannath Puri, a lot of people seem to say namaskar. Other parts of India, they say namaste. So I guess either one is correct, huh?
Suddenly, namaskaram of something, right? Namaskar.
Yeah, namaskar, namaste. So, and then what's the other? This is the most common misery. What's the third one? Adhyatmika. Adhyatmika klesh.
Mind and senses.
Mind. Troubles from the mind. Yeah, how I perceive could give me misery. And it's like, it's like my paradigm. You know that word paradigm? Paradigm is the way you see the world. It's the lens from which you look through to see the world. So if I look at the world through a red colored lens, I think everything is red. If it's green lens, everything is green. So if I look through a lens of hatred, well, I can find fault with everybody, you see. So the way I perceive things, that's a klesh, trouble, difficulty, or misery of the mind. So most of our miseries come from mental perception. A lot of times, have you ever noticed? A lot of times you think something is wrong and you find out it really wasn't. You were wrong. You were mistaken. Sometimes we think other people are good people or we think they're bad people. And then later on, we find out we were mistaken because our mind takes a mental snapshot and it's either good or bad. And then we find out later that whether we're right or wrong, So our mind causes us a lot of difficulty. Sometimes the mind is right. A lot of the times it's just not. So we have all these difficulties, acts of God, demigods, flood, drought, forest fire. It's like last year, right at about this time, I was sitting on my front. I have a little area in a small condo, and there's like a little sitting area. What do you call it? It's like a porch, but small. And I was looking across at the mountains. They're not too far away. And I saw lightning strike the mountain. And I thought, wow. And it hadn't been raining for months. So then I thought, wow, so some lightning. And I didn't really see that many clouds. So sure enough, in just a little while, I see up on the mountain this little circle of fire. So the lightning hit the mountain and now it's burning.
Because the grass was dry.
Because it was dry, you know? And I'm thinking, well, maybe it'll rain, you know, there's clouds, thunder, lightning. So, but it didn't rain. So it proceeded to grow and grow and grow, and like 70,000 acres burned. The whole mountain across from me burned. And I was afraid it was going to come over the ridge, because then if it did, it would come down through my neighborhood and we would have to abandon ship, you know. So that's a, you know, Prabhupada says, no one wants fire, but still fire comes. Sometimes in the dry season, you have this, the wind's moving the bamboo and it rubs together and it can cause some fire, you know, and it burns and burns and consumes so much. So we have these miseries that are falling upon us. So what about the material world is not full of misery? Anything? Can you think of anything?
In with Krishna's association.
When we're having satsanga, the miseries that, even if there are miseries in our life, we're not thinking about them, are we? When you go to the temple, to the mandir, it's generally uplifting. It kind of has this way of removing your obstacles and miseries.
Taking you to a higher level.
Your consciousness is going up to a higher level. And even though you may have these struggles in your life, you're not thinking about it because you're thinking about Krishna. You're thinking about Krishna's devotees. Maybe even thinking of some seva that you're going to do. You're at the temple, perhaps you're going to do some seva. You know, you're going to associate with the devotees. There's kirtan, there's Krishna Katha. So these things engage you, engage your consciousness, and it's soothing. So it's like you're in a world of misery. There's so much misery in this world. It's like, I tell this story a lot, how we perceive this world. So in Arizona, there's a place where I go walk. There's a park where I walk. And there's this path that goes around, and there's one tree, only one, and it's a mesquite tree, you know? And so that it keeps its leaves all year long. It doesn't lose its leaves. So the part of this tree hangs over and makes a shade on the walkway. So in the summertime, when it's 100 degrees or 105 or 110, when I'm out walking, when I'm approaching that shaded area, I think, oh, can't wait. And I even pause a little bit, you know, I'll be walking, chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. I get faster and faster and get up under the shade of the tree. And it's dry in Arizona. Sometimes the humidity is less than 6%. That's practically nothing. So that means that if you get under some shade, you're going to perspire because it's hot. And because it's low humidity, the perspiration dries immediately, so it has a cooling effect. Evaporation is a cooling process. I remember that from science class. So I'm out of the sun, and it feels like 80 degrees cooler. And I'm thinking, oh, I think I'll linger here a minute and chant. It would be nice if they had a bench under there I could sit down, but they don't. So then I continue on. So in the wintertime, I'm walking on the same path in the same park. And the same tree is giving the same shade, except it might be 40 degrees, 35 degrees, like that, 45, like, and so it's chilly. It's cold. When in the desert, when it gets cold, it feels cold. So when I'm out walking, the sun feels good now. There's not many clouds in the sky in the desert. So here I am walking in the same desert, in the same path, same sun, but now the sun is my friend. You see, a few months before, it was like, oh, I had this big hat on, can't wait to get to that tree. So now I'm walking and the sun feels good. See, you might even want to take your hat off and soak up some sun, some vitamin D. So now when I approach that tree, the tree is my enemy. He's going to block out the sun. It's going to get colder. It's going to feel 20 degrees colder. See? So this is just the working of my mind. My mind is perceiving. And so I'll sometimes walk around the shade of the tree. You see? So this is Adhyatmika clash. Our minds are always giving us some trouble like that. So, but Krishna says we can abandon all miseries. You don't have to. We tolerate heat and cold. We should tolerate heat and cold as if they're one and the same. It's difficult, but we should be tolerant. But Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, in the 8th chapter, I'm going to read 3 verses, 8, 14, 15, and 16. Oh, no, that's okay. Krishna says in verse 14, Ananya chetaha satatam yomam smarati nityasaha tasyaham sulubaha partha nitya yuktasya yogina. Translation, for one who always remembers me without deviation, I'm easy to obtain. O son of Sita, Arjuna, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So when I first read this in 1973, I can remember thinking, first of all, I had been thinking about how hard it is to find God. Well, you look around in this troubled world, like we just came out of we're almost out of a pandemic, a whole worldwide pandemic. Planet Earth was closed for a year, more than a year. Well, you couldn't move about. The stores were closed. Businesses were closed. You didn't go to the office. You had to work from. Everything changed. There's an example. The whole world was put into misery at the same time. So many people were worried. Is this going to get me? Is it going to kill me? So many people were dying. I lost so many close loved ones. So many close friends died from this COVID. So in a world like this, we can think God is difficult. Where is he? And so I was thinking in 1973, to find God is so difficult. Because I was thinking with a material mind, seeing with material eyes. But yet Krishna says, for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. Well, that's contradictory to our common thought. And people who don't know anything about God, they think like that. Who can find God? And if you say, I know a way to find God, they'll say, oh, nonsense. You're foolish. Nobody can find God. Because I can't find God, then what makes you think you can find God? It's ego like that. So the Krishna says very clearly, for one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain. So how do we do that? How do we always remember Krishna without deviation? He goes on to say, because of his constant engagement in devotional service. So what does this mean? Should I quit my job and just do puja all day? Is that what Krishna is talking about? So no, he doesn't. He wants you to continue your job, your position in life as a father, a wife, a mother, an IT professional, even though not a very good one, but no, I'm just teasing. He can't make the little computers make, but he makes this big. So no, it's like Prabhu has a job. Oh, you do your job as an offering to Krishna. We have to do everything as an offering to Krishna. We have a nice house. We consider this is Krishna's home. See, Krishna lives up there. He takes control of the house, doesn't he? It's his house. Krishna's thinking, thank you for giving me such a nice house. You see? So then when we're cleaning house for Krishna. That's seva, devotional service. The devotee cooks and offers the food to Krishna. So cooking is also devotional service, also seva. Cutting the yard, doing whatever you do as an offering to Krishna is devotional service. Working your job, being a father, being a mother, being a daughter, being a student, whatever you do it as an offering to Krishna.
So when we are doing the job or taking any responsibility, then we have to deal with other minds, people that work, make decisions. Everyone has policy here. So how when we are serving Krishna, like definitely like in material world, everyone is in anxiety. But when we are serving Krishna, then also we have anxiety to do the things in a proper way,
Right.
on time, with punctuality, nicely. But then there is like lot of responsibility that comes with that. So how like, and then we have to deal with people too, right, who may not be on the same mindset.
Haribodhika.
What's that?
Haribodhika Klesh comes into the workplace when I'm trying to do my service.
Like even for doing service, like like Prabhu, like if some like for the deity worship, things have to be on time.
Right.
But then there can be some devotee who doesn't care for the time.
Right.
Right. So you have been temple president, right? So how to deal with that
I
person?
remember being head pujari in Dallas, and so my job is to get the offering on the altar on time. Two things are important in deity worship: timeliness and cleanliness. So, and if you've got to have both. So when you're doing seva to the deity, the Lordity of Krishna, if the offering is supposed to be at 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whatever, then you have to have that plate on the altar in front of the deities on time. Or else Radharani says, no, I will not let you offer this to
Can
Krishna.
it be earlier than if it has to be at 1? And
Maybe a little, a few seconds. What do you want? 10 minutes early? You tell Krishna, here, look at this, and I'll tell you when to eat. It's better than late. Or if the altar is not clean, if it's muchi, then Radharani says, no, I won't let Krishna eat under these circumstances. So you've got to have, if the altar is clean, but the offering is late, that doesn't work. If the offering is on time, but the altar is dirty, that doesn't work. So cleanliness and timeliness. So sometimes we depend on other people to maybe prepare parts of the offering, the boga offering or whatever. So I'm cooking and you're supposed to bring this preparation that you're making. So I get your preparation, we're all making a preparation. Everybody shows up but you. And so now I've got to offer pakoras to Krishna with no chutney because you didn't show up. So now that's like you were interfering with my service, you see. Or at work, at the office, there may be people, you're offering your work to Krishna. So there may be people that interfere with your, whatever reason, maybe they disagree with you. And so they're causing some difficulty. Well, here you are, you're trying to serve Krishna. But this person is interfering. Or I'm trying to make a nice offering to Krishna. This person doesn't make the chutney, doesn't show up with the chutney, on time. So we get these interferences. So is that your question? Yeah.
So
How do we deal with that?
So now in that case, like we want to do service nicely. But for this, on the other part, we are into that kind of situation where we are not able to do that.
Right.
So that is one kind of misery because we are not able to perform our service.
Right.
But then how to deal with that situation where it's
We have to, the modes of material nature, goodness, passion, and ignorance, are going to make us react, whichever mode we find ourselves in. So I may be in the mode of goodness and I think I'm doing something nice, so I'm good. And everything is good because I'm making an offering for Krishna. And you're helping. So you're both good and you're good and he's bad because he didn't show up on time, you see. So I'll flip from the mode of goodness into the mode of passion so that I can get angry at you. You see what I mean? And I may even criticize. So now I'm angry and I'm critical. So now my false ego takes over and I want to demonstrate, but I'm a good devotee. My offering, part of the offering was on time. His was late, but I'm better. You see what I mean? And I may even go around and say nasty things about him. Why did you know his chutney was late today for the offering? Mine was on time. My pakoras were there. You see what I mean? So now I'm in the mode of passion. I'm angry. So we need to prevent that. We need to get a hold of the mind and not let it sink into the mode of passion. It's okay to feel angry inside, but you need to deal with it before the anger starts coming out of your mouth. Because when anger comes out of your mouth at somebody, it can hurt them. You see what I mean? So we need to back up, calm down. I need to treat you like a person, not an asset. Why? You're an asset because you said you were going to bring the chutney. And you knew that the offering started at 12 o'clock. See? Let's personalize the relationship. Let's stay off the boo. Your offering was late. Are you okay? See, if I think of you with loving affection, I'm going to think, well, Burgadadhar, that's not like him to be late. See? So I'm concerned about you. Are you okay? Were you ill? Well, no, my wife was sick. And so I had to take care of some things. I had some other challenges. Hari Priya was being as naughty as ever and extra silly. So you see what I mean? So you have a personal reason why you were late. And if I had let the anger come out of my mouth, I might have hurt our relationship. I might have hurt your feelings. But you're a nonsense. You didn't come. You see what I mean? Rather than being,
Maybe at work and all, bro, people try to throw you under the bus and lie, even though they may be at fault.
right,
They may be they may not have done their work, but then they throw you under the bus.
right.
It was he didn't do it. So there are definitely those kind of situations, and definitely bro.
Still, you've got to, don't be dragged into the mode of passion. Stay in the mode of goodness. Maybe they're having some struggles in their life. Maybe there's a struggle at home with a spouse or a child on drugs, or, maybe the boss is giving them a hard time. And so they're feeling some pressure and they feel like, oh, I need to perform better. And so I'm going to throw you under the bus to make me look good, because I'm worried the boss is not being fair with me, you see. So the main thing is try not to react. As soon as you feel yourself getting upset, slipping into the mode of passion, put on the brakes. Don't react, you see. So what you can do in a situation like this really works. When I was in business life, I used to do this. Keep a journal. The journal is very handy. So you write it down, the date, Bob Smith threw me under the bus. He lied and said that this was this and that was that, and it really was this way. You write it down. So you keep a journal. As time goes on, at some point, you'll have to say, wait a minute, hold on now. And you pull out that journal and you say, according to my notes, in April, you said this, and then in May, you said this about me. Then later in May, you said this. So where are we going with this? Why is there something I'm doing to you to offend you, to make you be so nasty in your dealings with me? You've got to. So when people see you reach into your desk or your briefcase and you pull out that journal, they know, oh no, he keeps a record of all this stuff. Okay. So that's one way to let them know, well, I'm going to write things down. And this whole thing is going to come back at you someday. Okay. That's one way of doing it. And it might be good to, at some point, to take them aside and just have a personal talk. Have I offended you? Always take the side that, let's assume that I'm wrong, the humble position. Well, what makes you think that I'm feeling that you offended me? Well, then you pull out this journal. Well, this has been going on for a long time. I've just got this habit of writing things down. When people start to sweat, oh God, he writes things down. So then you can say, well, you did this, you did that. I just need to know, is it me? Is there something I need to improve? Because if you just attack them, they're going to put up a defense. And so they'll have to shoot back. Well, you did this and you did that. Oh yeah, where's your journal? Do you write things down too? Well, no. I do. People write a record of these kinds of things. So, if there's anything I can do to improve our relationship, please let me know. Because I want a good relationship. I assume that you want a good relationship with me. Am I correct? So you're asking questions it's hard for them to say, no, I don't want a good relationship with you. They almost have to say, well, yes, I'd like to have a good relationship. You know, a professional relationship, working relationship. Yeah, all right. So what can I do to get us there? So I'm not placing any blame. I'm not pointing the finger at them, although they're guilty. You see? And expect it. In the material world, expect to be thrown under the bus. Expect to be stabbed in the back. And sometimes even by people that you trust. People that you've helped. And it may hurt a little bit more because you weren't expecting it. You got to deal with it. Unavoidably. It's there. It's real. So what do? Krishna says, for one who always remembers me without deviation. So whenever I feel myself being sucked into that mode of passion, I have to remember always, Krishna, I'm depending on you. Please help me. I don't know how to get myself out of this jam. This is a real jam. You know, please help me. So without deviation, it means try to solve it on your own without Krishna. What do the gopis say? My dear Lord, I don't have anything but you. You're my only sanctuary. Without you, I'm lost. You can't do it on your own unless you behave in the modes. You can get angry, you know, you can hit back, you can do some revenge, but that's probably not going to get you anywhere.
In the responsible roles, we have to make some decisions also that may hurt some people, like, you know. So that also falls into the same kind of situation.
Yeah, same thing. Yeah, always be personal. Because you, the soul, you are a person. And so are the people that you're dealing with. They're persons. Treat them like personalities. It's easy to forget that. And it's easy to try to sidestep it because it takes more time. You know, the easy thing might be to just get mad and say some nasty things and peel that person out of your life forever. Earn the relationship. That's pretty common. So we're asking people, the devotees of Krishna, be uncommon. Don't be common. Common isn't good. That's why in Britain, they even say, oh, that's very common of you. You know, that's not good. Your behavior is very common. And everybody, low-class people, they behave that way. See what I mean? No, be uncommon. Be kind, understanding.
But maybe sometimes we think like I will take one day revenge from that person. But doing all the nasty things with me, so I will take one day revenge. I will just go
Keep
out.
piling up that kind of fear.
Sometimes you have to take a step back from people. You have to put some distance between you. It's like, you know, if you're walking in the desert and you find a rattlesnake. Ever seen a rattlesnake?
Snake, maybe a rat snake.
Well, these rattlesnakes are very beautiful. Oh, they're pretty. They have this diamond work on their back. And I mean, they're very attractive, you know, but they're also poisonous and they will bite you. The thing about the rattlesnakes is, and there's plenty of them in Arizona, but they will completely ignore you. They'll be crawling and you may be like maybe this close. And until they feel threatened, they will completely ignore you. They may know you're there, but they're like, it's just that if you get too close, then they get very upset. They start to rattle and they're ready to bite, you see. So no matter how nice we are to the snake, he's going to bite you if you, but you can't say, oh, hi there, Mr. Snake. Here, I have some lunch that I'm carrying with me. Here, take some. He's going to be, because he's like, see, envious, nasty. So you have to say, my dear Mr. Snake, I wish you well, but you work your side of the street and I'll work mine. So you take a step back, give some distance, because this entity is dangerous. And if the snake bites you and you get sick and die, he's not going to cry tears for you. He's not going to say, oh, why did I do that? I shouldn't have. Oh, he was a nice person. Well, it was my fault. He's not going to go get treatment. He's not going to go to a psychologist and say, why do I bite people like that? No, we'll do it again, you see. So sometimes we have relationships with people and we can't have a relationship with them. We just can't, because they're like that. They're nasty. They'll cause you a problem. So then you have to keep it, some distance. Yeah. Does that make any sense?
But sometimes, though, again, we become close. And reason.
Yeah, but you have to remain cautious. Knowing if someone is nasty to you, now you know what they're capable of. The snake, if you see a cobra, you know what the cobra is capable of. He's capable of biting you. So some people and you don't think that they're capable of stabbing you in the back or being nasty to you or lying to you or cheating you. You just don't think they're that way. And a lot of times you'll be right. A lot of times you will be wrong.
It's probably like in family, they don't have to interface with the outside world. They are kind of safe that way.
You're safe with family.
In a way, but we have to deal with the outside world.
Right.
We have to handle more.
Yeah.
And that's kind of.
And it's good as to the degree that you can, it's good to insulate the family from that type of activity. Although they're going to go out in the world too someday, they will experience it. So best thing to do is don't react. Don't let yourself react in the mode of passion. Stay back. Stephen Covey, he's a famous, I forget, what do you call someone? Yeah, motivation. Yeah. Stephen Covey? Yeah, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People and First Things First. He makes some important points in there. But one of those points I remember is seek first to understand, then to be understood. So before you react, try to understand what's wrong with that person and why they did it. Then once you have information, you can react. But until then, you're thinking, don't let people pull you down to a lower level. Even if they don't want to, their misbehavior can cause you to misbehave. So now you have 2 people acting like children. Somebody needs to be the adult. So why not you? So main thing is, remember, Krishna wants you to always remember him without deviation in everything you do. So when there's a problem, immediately, Krishna, please help me. Give me some understanding. Help me to figure this out. I mean, if Krishna can't help you, who do you think can help you?
Mhm.
Do you think Krishna wants to help you? Of course.
We don't want to take his help.
We don't want to take his help.
You're over smart.
We're already angry. We've already got it figured out. I'm mad at this person, and we destroy a relationship. See? Krishna also says in the next verse, after attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world, which is full of miseries, because they have attained the higher perfection, the highest perfection. So Krishna says, once you attain me, this sometimes it's misunderstood. People think after you attain me, when you die and go back to Goloka Vrindavan, that's not necessary. You don't have to die to be conscious of Krishna and your relationship with him and our eternal relationship. We have an eternal relationship. We're all part and parcel of Krishna. We're all servants of Krishna. We always have been, we always will be. It's just that for this temporary life, we don't know that. See? Because I'm thinking I am my body and you're your body. That's wrong. That's wrong from the get-go. After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world. But you don't have to die to enjoy that status of being liberated. Liberation means I understand who Krishna is and my eternal relationship with him. If I can understand my relationship with Krishna as his eternal servant, then I should be able to understand yours with Krishna and respect you in that. Even if you misbehave. You know, that's when we have to be as tolerant as a tree.
So sometimes it's really very, very hard to tolerate.
So difficult. But what makes it difficult is that we're used to getting into the modes. We're used to getting angry. I'll let my anger take over. Like that's going to make me feel good. Has it ever helped? When you got angry about something, has that ever contributed to the success of what you wanted to accomplish? I mean, maybe you got angry and you scared somebody, so they did something a certain way. But that's not a good relationship if you have to scare someone. You know, you want to be free from anger. Anger is not fun. We want to be freed from anger, lust, greed, envy.
Prabhupada like sometimes quotes Hanumanji, like he used his anger and burnt Lanka. Like when he went to Lanka, he burned the whole Lanka to teach calmness. No, that anger was used in service of Lord Ram.
Right.
But then
Arjuna had used his anger, his passion, to kill people as service to Krishna. It's so anger, passion, have uses in seva, serving Krishna. What about ignorance? What of ignorance?
sleep.
Sleeping. You can sleep and rest your body so that you can serve Krishna.
Ignore others' mistake.
Huh?
Just ignore others' mistake.
Ignore others. So one thing I was thinking about rattlesnakes, when you find them, they will completely ignore you.
Mm.
And you're thinking, I know you know I'm here. I know. And they're like, I don't care. But they have this imaginary line, and if you cross that line, they're like, well, they're ready to fight. Especially when the weather is real hot, they don't really like it, so they're agitated. They get angry real fast. And people are like that. Many people, they're agitated. This material world is an agitation. So many things that are agitating practically everyone. So people may be quick to get angry. But that doesn't have to be us. And even if we do, grab hold of it. It's like if you're riding a horse and the horse decides he wants to run, you have to pull in the reins. No. And in the third verse, Krishna says, from the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery, wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. So Krishna is saying, from the highest planet, Indralok, Brahmalok, all the way down to the hellish planets, and in between, the earth planet, all are places of misery. See? So if we can become Krishna conscious and operate with and associate with people as if I'm a devotee and you're a devotee too. See? People that you don't know, they are devotees of Krishna. They just don't know it. So you have the advantage in that you know that they are. See? So you treat them with respect. Somehow deal with their nonsense. So, any questions, comments, or criticism? Anyone? Don't be so shy. What about you, Ross Keeley? You usually have good questions. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, how do we leave misery behind? Leave material consciousness behind. We have to think always, without deviation, I am servant of Krishna. Krishna, I am yours, but you are mine.
Sometimes have a tendency to
Mine has a tendency to forget out of its training.
and sometimes it doesn't even want to.
Right. Oh, that's another, don't want to. Sometimes we feel ourselves getting angry and we want to. You know, we want to be mad. For whatever reason, maybe there's a whole lot of things that have been going on today and now you did something and some little thing, but now I'm gonna get mad at you, like I'm gonna feel better.
Maybe the angry person later also blame others, like because of you, I'm angry.
Yeah. So because of your behavior, I'm angry. And I'm trying to get over it. I'm trying to deal with it. So maybe I can have a personal encounter with this person that's making me want to get angry and settle it. Or maybe I just need to back up and give them more space. If they work with you every day.
That was the biggest advantage of the pandemic, though. Like, you don't have to.
Well, he's not fighting with each other.
But I guess for like, whenever we go in our yard, you still have to be around people. But you can study or in person online. Either other teachers, students. employees, like.
Yeah.
Into it.
People that we encounter at the store, you know? So, but see, it's our nature. We're social entities.
Mm.
You know, we come from Goloka Vrindavan, where there are innumerable souls just like us, and we're all serving Krishna. So it's our nature to be social. We only try to withdraw when we're afraid of people, or we just, you know, think that they're going to give us a chance to be friends with them. Sometimes we feel that way. But if we get personal and find out, seek first to understand. Try to understand people. It's difficult. And it's the right thing to do. So, thank you all for tuning in. It's been nice having your association. It's like I'm having your association, but not having it. So I hope to see you all soon.
Tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow. Tomorrow we're going to do this again at 4:00.
Yeah.
So if you can come to Krishna House, Gorgadadhar's house, very good. If not, please tune in. And we'll see you later. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare
Hare
Krishna.